Hey guys, great to see you. Joe here and welcome to another video, and thank you very much indeed for joining me for this one. So in this video I'm going to show you how to play 3 different finger picking patterns. But before I do that, just a couple of words on finger picking, okay? So this is going to be geared towards beginners, and so it's very important to start at the right place with the right kind of exercises, okay? So that's what we're going to do in this video. Okay, so one of the challenges when we start out with finger picking is to get our fingers working independently, okay? Because if all they have done is hold a plectrum, then, they need to be educated in what to do. And so this is a little bit trickier than it seems because they don't always want to do what we tell them to do. So it takes a little bit of time to break through. Now, the important thing is, as I always say, is to enjoy the journey and not to get frustrated. So let me now show you the 3 basic finger picking patterns. Okay, so just before we get started, I'm going to be using the chords C, G and F to illustrate these finger picking patterns. I'm going to start with pattern 1, the bass. Pattern 2, pattern 3, Okay, now one of the most important things is getting yourself comfortable. Now there are lots of suggestions out there on exactly what your arm position should be, your hand position, your wrist and everything else. I always say just aim for something which feels natural to you and is comfortable. Make sure when you're trying to do these kind of movements, you're not having to get in any awkward positions or anything like this. Some people like to use a little finger as an anchor, so you've got something there to steady yourself. Okay, so let me show you what's happening in these patterns. Let's start with pattern 1, okay? So this is all about the bass. So it can be helpful when we're thinking about finger picking to think of it as almost like a piano, where we have, the bass with our left hand and the top end with our right hand. Well, a similar thing is happening, only we're doing it all on one hand. So the thumb of our right hand, depending on what hand you use, whether you're right or left-handed, is playing the bass, all the bass notes, and the fingers are playing all the top end. Now, it stands to reason that that bass has to be very reliable for anything really to work. So although it's a very, very simple thing, it can actually be very surprising how difficult just doing that simple bass pattern is if you haven't done it before. So that's where we need to start. Now, as I say, for all these picking patterns, we're using the chords C, G and F. So what that means is when we play the C, we're going to be playing 5/4 in the bass like this. Then when we go to the G, we're going to be playing 6/4. And then when we go to an F, we're going to be playing 6/4 again. And then back to our 5/4 on the C. Okay, now there's a variation on this exercise and it's called the brush. And what essentially it is when we play the second of the bass notes, so in the case of C, we play the 5 first, but when we play the 4, rather than just playing the 4, we brush. Okay, not too much. We don't want it affecting what we're trying to do too much. So let me show you what the brush sounds like. So what this means is you can kind of practice this technique with all the kind of songs that you can already play. Just try and add a bass to them and add the brush. So that's the first finger picking pattern. Okay, so in this pattern, we're introducing some top end into what we're doing, which is our index finger. Now, what we're doing is we're just putting an extra note in between the bass, and the string that the index finger will be playing is the third string. So we have 5, 4, third string. To the G, to the F, okay, so we're just adding that third string all the time to each of those chords. And there's not much more to it than that, but what's very important, like I say, is your timing, because that's what's going to kind of make it sound good. Finger picking pattern number 3. Okay, so in this pattern, we've introduced another finger to the top end, which is our middle finger. So now we're using 3. We're using our thumb, index and middle. And again, all we're really doing this time is adding the second string. Okay, so essentially what we're doing here is we are picking the same bass pattern, only we're putting these additional notes in between that pattern. So we have 5, 4, 3, 5, 2, 4. Now, when we go to the G, okay, so we've got 6, 4, 3, back to 6, 2, 4. The bass is just staying the same from pattern number 1 essentially, and we're just adding these additional notes. Then when we go to the F, it's same again. 6, 4, 3, 6, 2, 4. And the important thing to remember with these patterns is that it's all about the timing. If you can make it sound even, then it's going to sound real nice. So hopefully that's a little bit of a taster for you, and it will spark a little bit of an interest with this finger picking. There's so much you can do with it, and I'm hoping that you will join me for future lessons where I'm going to be breaking down lots more finger picking patterns, and by the time I've finished with you, you're going to be able to finger pick. So enjoy the journey and have some fun with it.